Hello YouTube, it's me FemShep, and I am back with another monthly replay review for one of my channel members who has requested to be anonymized, so I'm going to be editing this later to block out his CFN so that he can get his analysis without feeling like he's being put on blast in front of the world in any way, which, for the record, I really do try not to do to anybody. I want these to be constructive criticism, not just dunking or making anybody feel bad or incapable of improvement, because we're all in need of improvement and we're all capable of improvement. But if you're uncomfortable having your name shown in a replay review, you can always ask me to just block it out, or you can ask me to upload your replay review unlisted so you were the only one who can see it. So I am just going to jump right into it. This player has said he previously played Chun-Li, he's learning Mai, and he has a couple of specific concerns that he would like me to address when looking at these two replays versus this Ryu. Namely, checking my notes here, what should I work on in a fundamental level since I just started with Mai? What are my bad habits? Is there any redeemable thing I did on this set? And how should I learn a character in an optimal way? Which is a lot. I'm going to try to narrow down mainly what are the core things you should focus on learning a new character, and what are the most obvious bad habits that you're going to want to break. Because I don't play Mai. I messed with Mai for a couple hours on release day. I'm not really actively playing the game right now outside of locals because I'm really locked in on a project outside of gaming that isn't going to be finished until mid-March. So by no means am I an expert on how to play Mai at all. But I have learned two characters now. I have a Marissa that peaked in 1700s MR, and a Pocket Ken that I'm still messing with that hovers around 1500, maybe a little below. So I have learned how to play a character at least a master level more than once, and I think that does put me in a position of being able to talk in a somewhat helpful way about how to learn a character, especially how to learn a secondary. I may not be your local 2000 MR player, but I'm going to do my best to share what I do know. So let's get right into it. I'm just going to watch the whole replay and then go back and talk about what we saw.
Show me what you have.
She's so hot, oh my god. Okay, focusing.
Stay down. Huh? Watch your head. Stay down. My turn. Eh? Hadouken!
Round two. Fight!
Stay down. Locked in. Hey-ya! Wait. Stay down. My turn. Stay down. Locked in. gave me a real workout there.
Final round. Fight! What's wrong? Get up!
Wait! My turn! Hibachi!
An opening! Ryu wins!
Okay, so I am gonna start actually from point 3, which was, is there any redeemable thing I did on that set? Because I think there's always something positive to be said here, and there are a couple things that stood out to me. So I'm just gonna play it again and point out all of the positive things before I go into criticism, because I really don't want you to just sit there feeling bad about yourself. Like, you're already in mid-platinum, that's like halfway through the ranks. A lot of people, the majority of the player base, I think Plat 1 is still the most inflated rank in the game, because once people stop getting win streaks, they just stop playing the game. So you've already made it past the most common plateau. That's not nothing. And I don't want you to sit here and feel bad about yourself. So I'm going to start with the positives.
Show me what you have.
Okay. Okay, you did get hit by the overhead there, but this is something that stood out to me through the entire set, is you are completely unafraid to just block. And that might not sound like a big deal, but the vast majority of the time that I look at a replay of somebody in like gold or platinum, the main advice I have to give them is stop DPing on every wake up, stop mashing on every wake up, stop jumping on every wake up, just chill and crouch block. And you crouch block on wake up for almost the entirety of this set. Which sounds like a little thing, but it's not. It's a big thing. You're starting from a position of being able to play calm when you're on defense. And that's something a lot of people don't learn until much later. So that is really good.
Stay down.
The drive rush crouch medium kick, or crouch medium kick drive rush into throw. Also, let me back up here. The on block crouch medium kick into throw, that just crouch medium kick drive rush is an incredibly strong tool in this game that you immediately used very early in the set, which, yeah, might sound fundamental, but there are plenty of people that don't realize how good that actually is, and you're already taking advantage of it. Particularly with registering the fact that he blocked. You may have done that automatically, but if you did register the fact that he blocked, then going for throw is a really good option there, and beat his panic DI clean. That was great. We have again here that you're willing to just block. You're also very willing to take space when you're on offense after you get a knockdown. I see plenty of players at this level get the knockdown and then just kind of freeze and not have any idea what to do. Often still just hang back because they're afraid of what the other person's going to do when they get off the ground. You pretty continually walk forward and take your space, which is also great.
Stay down.
Good DP. You're also willing to just wait. You see you just kind of shimmying in place there, trying to see what he's gonna do. Do you know how long it takes some people to learn how to just wait in this crazy ass game? That's fantastic.
Round 2. Fight!
Stay down. My turn.
You've already got some combos as well.
Stay down. Locked in.
You're taking advantage of when he just wants to block by throwing him, where a lot of people will just wail on the block instead of recognizing that this is an opportunity to pressure with throws. You pressure with throws very consistently.
Stay down. My turn.
There's a lot happening here, so I'm kind of just trying to speed through some of the chaos. More willingness to just block. This round ends up going on for a really long time, so I'm going to skip to round 3 because the end is kind of repetitive. You also really try to make use of your fireball at long range and the appropriate range. I'll get into more of how you can do that better later, but it's a really good place to start. More willingness to just block. You tried to perfect parry the DI. Okay, I am still trying to wire my brain in fairly high MR to respond to DI with attempted perfect parry. So already having that reflex is great. Again, trying to respond to the DI with parry. Awesome, awesome. And then you end up doing something negative on block here and dying. Okay. Let me slow this down again. Okay. So what do I want to look at next here? What should I work on a fundamental level since I just started with Mai? And how should I learn a character in an optimal way? I'm going to go into more detail how I approached learning a secondary in kind of the second half of the video in training mode. I think I'm going to start with the other specific query, which was what are my bad habits? And I'm going to kind of point them out as they happen. Okay, for starters, in like the first few seconds here, you throw a fireball at Roundstar. Not always a terrible idea. It is risky for if they jump Roundstar. It's not always a terrible idea, but it is the beginning of a pretty persistent pattern for you in this set, which is if you are at long range, where the only thing you have that would connect is Fireball, you pretty much always Fireball. And he starts to read you pretty hard for that later in the match, which I'll point out as we get there. Getting hit by the overhead here is understandable. Honestly, it's just a result of the fact that you're willing to crouch block, which is a good thing. If somebody hits you with overheads a lot, then you gotta start stand blocking. But like, the desire to crouch block is good. This is just a matchup thing, but unless he does the heavy Hashogeki, the palm there, it's negative on block. So you don't have to respect this. This isn't the main thing to focus on at all. It's just something I thought should be pointed out because he's -6 here. Like, this is your turn. And you actually did take your turn. So maybe you knew that? Great job here, really.
Stay down. Watch your head.
It seems like at close range, I said that you throwing him out of him wanting to block a lot is good, and it is. But at close range, you really don't know how to pressure. You're afraid to just do strings on his block. You want to be damaging him immediately, and you always go for the throw. Where you could be doing something that takes away some of his drive gauge from him blocking. You could be putting him into a mix-up with the drive rush cancel like you did with the crouch medium kick earlier, which was very good. You could be doing a string that frame traps so that if he tries to mash in the middle of your block string, he gets hit. But you tend to walk up, hit maybe a couple of lights, and then if he's still blocking, you just throw him. And throwing against block is good, but not if it's the only thing you do against block, because it becomes predictable, and he can just tack or backdash or jump. Okay, right here is the other big bad habit that stood out to me. I did not see you anti-air once in this entire game. And that is a very normal thing to struggle with when so many things are happening in this game. Especially when you're still in like low to mid plat. You're in mid plat here actually, you're plat 3. I said plat 2 earlier, you're plat 3, you're getting there. But it's difficult when it is part of your mental stack. The goal is to get to a point where your anti-airs are as automatic as possible, so you can think about everything else without having to think about anti-airs. And I will mention one way to train that in training mode later. But for now, I will just say you not anti-airing gives Ryu free pressure throughout like this entire match. I think he jumps in on you like 20 times. And every single time you hold those plus frames and end up in a mix-up because you didn't anti-air. If you just anti-aired in the set, genuinely, if that was the only thing you changed, I think you would have won the set, because he played the set like Super Mario. Good DP. This is another case of like, just waiting is good, within reason, but I don't think you know what you're waiting for. Some of it is that you just don't want to approach him and hit buttons that aren't throw. There, you did throw out a poke. That was good. But after you throw out your poke, the goal of a poke on block, well, there are a couple things that pokes on block can do. One, they drain the drive gauge if he blocks. If you do like a long string that takes a lot of drive meter. And two, sometimes, like I said, it could be a frame trap in the middle of the string. But if you're doing a singular poke on block like that, either you're trying to set it up where it pushes you so far out that his next button will whiff and you can punish him, a spacing trap, or more likely, you're just trying to provoke a response. After you do a button on his block, like, what could he possibly do? He could hit a button back, in which case, hopefully you make that button whiff, or you block it, you parry it, whatever. But some of the most common responses are going to be jump or mash, or depending on how far out they get pushed, maybe drive rush. So you want to look for maybe 2 to 3 things that they most commonly could do after your block. I would say maybe number 1 should be jump after they block your normal. So after you throw out your one button, then I feel like you're kind of going, crap, I didn't hit him. I haven't really done much drive gauge damage. Nothing has been accomplished. But what you've done is taken your turn and forced him to have a response. And you then want to be focused on being ready to respond to his response. And you were not ready to anti-air here. You do a lot of hovering, like, right around a range where your buttons would be really, really good, but you just don't press buttons. And I can't believe I'm saying that, because most of Platinum is people who won't stop pressing freaking buttons. But you actually need to press more buttons. You need to have a little bit more confidence in your ability to approach and create pressure. All of this right here. Alright. One button. Could have anti-air, but you didn't. Okay. He's safe here. But even so, when he then doesn't do anything, this is your opportunity to, even if you just wanted to stick to the bread and butter of crouch medium kick drive rush, well, actually that would have burnt you out here. So maybe not drive rush. But you could have done any number of safe pokes here just to take your turn back and establish some pressure. And you're just really afraid to hit anything. You want to get out of his range, but when you're just out of his range, you're not looking to whiff punish him. You're just kind of waiting. And I don't know what it is that you're waiting for. I feel like if you narrow your focus to looking for 2 or 3 things from your opponent, say jump, drive rush, fireball, and maybe a specific normal, like for a Shoto, maybe reuse crouch medium kick. If you look for those couple of things, then you have a couple responses that you're ready to deploy. But right now, I feel like you're experiencing what I experience in my highest moments of stress, which is you're thinking about absolutely everything that could happen, and it makes it impossible to respond to what does happen. You gotta narrow your focus. And what to narrow your focus to comes down to observing your opponent and what their habits are. But at this level, I would say if you stick to just looking for things that every character can do and any opponent will do, jump, drive rush, main poke, fireball, that alone will put you in a good position because you know what you're preparing to respond to. That again there is at long range you always fireball. There it is again, and that is the hard read I was talking about. As soon as you back up really far away, you fireball every time. So he then goes for the hard read with the drive impact, which would be very risky otherwise. and it works out for him because you always fireball at that range.
Round 2.
Don't crash. There we go.
Fight. Hadouken!
Again, fireball long range. You kind of walk after it.
Stay down. My turn.
Okay, you did do a combo on hit. That's good.
Wait. Stay down.
Really just a discomfort with approaching outside of jump and throw. Those are your particular comfort options, and everybody has comfort options. You've got to get comfortable just using some of her really long normals, which have a lot of pushback, so that then if he hits a button after he blocks your button, a lot of times he's going to miss and you can punish him for it. Because right now, you're just walking a lot. If you're really far away, you're fireballing, and eventually you're throwing or you're jumping.
Stay down. My turn.
I will also point out that while throwing out of the DIs is great, you did not respond to a single DI with DI. So I would consider maybe setting up a training mode drill for yourself where the character, you have a couple of recordings. Maybe you record one that's just an empty jump. Then you record empty jump DI on landing. Then you record maybe empty jump button on landing. And you try to respond to only the DI with DI to get that into your rotation. Because right now, you just do not DI back. The perfect parry response is good, but there are a lot of opportunities here for you to drive impact back that you just don't take.
Stay down.
That right there is what I'm talking about when it comes to using your normals to pressure on block. That spaces him out really far. It leaves him safe on block at -2, and it forces you to have some kind of response, which you don't really respond a lot to pressure, you block a lot. And I think that's better than not blocking enough, so I'm not going to be too hard on that. But just kind of trying to use this as an example of he walks at you, he uses his longest range button, and he forces you into a response. And you need more of that in your gameplay. Again, the DI, without the response, you kind of jump at him, you go for fireball. You gonna throw him? The end of this round ends up being really weird and messy. If you'd responded to any one of these DIs, he would be dead. Okay, you responded there, but late. This ends up getting a little silly. He put himself in burnout here. So in burnout, he takes chip damage. If you had just thrown a fan at any point when he was doing that Denjin charge, I think you probably would have been able to chip him out. But you end up in this really prolonged scramble where you finally land a jab, and you probably could have just chipped him out.
Final round. Fight.
I think it's pretty much more the same in round 3. The main things that stand out to me in terms of things you need to work on are anti-airs and DI responses in terms of reaction. And in terms of your pressure, using more of your normals to provoke a response and then being ready to respond to some of the most common things they could do. Including, if you used a button that pushes them really far away, them whiffing a button because they think they can hit you and they actually can't. I'm gonna watch the second replay now. I'm guessing it's gonna be pretty similar, and then I'm gonna take this to training mode. I'm not going to watch this in full without commentating, since we kind of already have some idea what we're looking at. I'm just going to comment as we go. Again, round start fireball. At this range, you want a fireball so bad. And a fireball is a good tool, but the actual goal of the fireball game, really, is, well, two things I think for mine. I haven't played a lot of mine, so take this with a grain of salt. Number one is just the basic fireball game for everybody, which is you throw a fireball at a safe range and timing, so that if they try to jump over it, like Ryu does here, you have time to anti-air, which requires two things. Number one, you throwing your fireball at a safe time and distance, and number two, you being ready to anti-air. And right now, neither of those things are happening. You're not anti-airing, and you're throwing your fireball in really unsafe situations like round start, where if he jumps, really, he just should have hit you. I'm really surprised he didn't hit you. In that case, you did have time to anti-air. So if you had anti-aired, you would have been fine. But if you want to play the fireball game, as soon as that fireball is out, one of two things you need to be doing. You need to be ready to anti-air, or you need to be dashing or drive rushing behind it to continue your pressure after he blocks that fireball. Which is what I've been seeing a lot of Mize do, the Mize I watched on YouTube. I was watching some of Nephew's Mai in tournament on YouTube today, is using that fan to shield your approach and dashing or drive rushing up to create pressure. But just throwing the fan by itself and not being ready to anti-air if they jump and then not getting any more pressure off of it is underutilizing the tool. Okay, you tried to anti-air with something there. I'm not sure what it was. I see you starting to try to anti-air in this setting. You just don't have the reactions yet. Yep, there, the really delayed DP. So it's hitting you here like, oh crap, I need to knock him out of the air, and you're just not ready. That is something you can train. Anti-airing is not automatic. It is not easy for anybody in the beginning. Frankly, when your mental stack is overwhelmed, it's not easy for anybody at any level, combined with everything else. So be kind to yourself, this is learnable.
My turn.
But again, he just jumps at you so much. Like, just anti-airing will get you to at least plat 4, if not plat 5, if not all the way to diamond. Again, it's your turn, and you do one jab on block and you throw. You're afraid to do strings, you're afraid to do big normals.
Stay down.
I'm repeating myself, and I know it, but it's not because I'm trying to dog on you. It's because I'm trying to show you that there is a pattern. Not sure why you DP'd there, I'm just gonna skim past that. Oh, that was a really unfortunate series of events. That was messy.
Round 2. Fight.
You anti-aired with the DP! Hell yeah, let's fucking go! If you do that, even 80% of the time, your win rate is gonna skyrocket, man. Again, you walk up, you do one button, you try to throw him.
Distracted much?
You do throw him.
Stay down.
Great anti-air!
Lost your cool?
He did a big whiff in front of you, and you still didn't do a combo. Like, you're so afraid to do anything big that you're still going for throw punishes on big whiffs. I still can't believe I'm telling somebody they need to play less patient in Platinum. Like, you are a rare breed, and that will serve you well at a higher level. Once you add offense to your defense, you're going to be great, because most people play like maniacs and have to learn how to play defense. You have defense. That is good. That's another unsafe fireball situation.
Stay down.
He's once again in chip range here. If you did, like, OD fans here, he'd just die. Oh my god. Okay. I'm gonna take this to training mode. I think I have an idea of probably the best things for you to focus on right now. I'm gonna play Ken, because I think he's the best way to explain a lot of fundamentals. Marissa is a lot more atypical. And Ken is the secondary I have learned. So a good example for how I learned how to play a secondary. Let's just make Ryu the other guy, sure.
All right, I'm ready.
So for starters, learning how to anti-air. If I put us at mid-screen here. Oop. There is a setting in training mode, if you go into simple training settings, called anti-air practice. You just turn it on, and Ryu will jump at you. And sometimes he won't, and sometimes he will.
Shoryuken! 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 Shoryuken!
You get the idea. It will literally just automatically set the bot to jump at you. And this is a great way to train your anti-airs in a safe environment right out of the gate that is just super accessible, and there's no reason you shouldn't do it. As far as training your DI reactions goes, you go to recording settings. Let me just reset this. Let's say slot, you set this to have a recording trigger be on input, so it won't record until you do something. Slot 1, empty jump. Slot 2, empty jump, crouch medium kick. Slot 3, empty jump, DI. You turn those all on, and you end up with something that looks a little bit like this. Just real basic. You don't want to be doing that when it's not the DI. You do want to be doing it when it is the DI. Obviously, in a perfect world, you would be doing a different reaction for each of the recordings. Like, if he whiffs a crouch medium kick in my face, I should really be punishing that. Which is hard to do when you're also thinking about the DI. Like, this is not as easy as it looks, genuinely. I need to run more drills myself. And there I was looking for the crouch medium kick. And there I was looking for the DI. Frankly, I could stand to do more of this myself, because my own DI reactions are a little lackluster in a real match. So you get the idea. You make a couple of recordings. They don't have to be exactly the same as my recordings, but you give yourself 2 or 3 things to think about, and you train your DI reactions. So anti-airs, DIs. I talked about pressure on blocks, so I'm just going to kind of go through some examples of Ken. This is a really good poke for Ken. This is a really good poke for Ken. Obviously, there's the crouch medium kick. He's got a really good stand light kick. I don't know what Mai's best normals are, because I'm not a Mai player. But talk to some Mai players, or just lab it out. Especially anything with a lot of pushback. Like, this has so much pushback. Look how far away this pushes him from me. To where there are a whole bunch of his buttons that are no longer going to reach me at that range. It pushes me back so far that my own crouch medium kick doesn't connect after that. Mai has a lot of those pushback buttons that you can take advantage of. Because if he then tries to hit a button after he blocks that, he's going to get hit. If all I do is Ken is this... I'm giving up opportunities to create pressure even without special moves, just with my normals, to force him to eventually have a response to me just hammering away at him and putting him in a scary situation. And that is easier said than done. It will come with time, but I think just beginning to use more buttons, even if you get hit more initially, getting past that barrier where you're just afraid to hit them is going to help you in the long run. What should I work on at the fundamental level since I just started with Mai? I would say anti-airs, throwing safe fireballs and being ready to anti-air afterwards, knowing what your best normals are, fireball drive rush as well when you're good at fireball, the power of being able to do this. Obviously not quite the same thing as on Mai, but still a generally applicable example. And that is probably like the fundamentals. But then how should I learn a character in an optimal way is a little broader. And this is why I wanted to go into training mode. I think in general, how I approached learning a new character is I went, okay, I want to have a punish counter drive impact combo for when I DI back or DI through something punishable. I want to have a corner combo for if my DI hits them into the wall. I want to have a cash out combo for if I want to spend all of my meter. I want to have one or two or three bread and butter combos that are good mid-screen, corner, whatever. And I'm going to add jump-in combo because I didn't think about it specifically, but I noticed it as soon as I started really locking into trying to learn Ken as a character. So I'm going to go through those one at a time. I'm going to start with a bread and butter combo. Just 2 or 3 combos that are just old reliable. I'm using Ken because I know what Kens are. I don't know what Mai's are. I can't teach you how to play Mai. I can teach you how to approach learning, and you can then go to people who do play Mai or access videos people have made on how to play Mai and apply that knowledge to the framework I'm trying to give you. So bread and butters for Ken are largely just starting with his medium auto combo with different enders. So into run Tatsu, into run DP, run Dragon Lash, DP, and also off of the crouch medium kick. You definitely want a crouch medium kick drive rush cancel combo since you have a character with a decent crouch medium kick. So Ken's easy one on hit being into any of the B&Bs I just went through. You can also have maybe one that takes a little more effort but does a little bit more damage. So like this is still my instinct on Ken a lot of the time because it's really simple to do. It does 1952 damage versus 2,340 damage. And that's something I'm trying to integrate into my combos more. But just having this and different enders. Oop. And then this gives you a really significant place to start. The next step after that, once you have your bread and butter combos, is knowing 2 to 3 different Oki options off of that knockdown. I wouldn't worry about Oki until you're more comfortable with your combos, but just to give some easy examples on Ken, off of this knockdown in the corner, I'm going to set him to wake up mash so that you know the stuff is real. Double dash throw. I dropped it, but double dash crouch light kick. There it is. Frame kill overhead. So having just a couple of those options off the knockdown, maybe if I want to bait him doing a throw tech on wake up, instead I'm going to do forward dash, back dash. I dropped it there, but I'm still dropping it. I'm still getting used to doing forward dash, back dash. There it is. If he'd done a throw tech there, I could have gotten a punish. So having your 2 to 3 Oki options, 3 to 4 Oki options off of those most common knockdowns for your B&Bs, that's layer 2. But starting with layer 1, which is your B&Bs. What else do you need? I said jump-in combo. For Ken, his jump-in combos can actually pretty much just be his B&Bs after he lands his crouch heavy punch. Like, or jump heavy punch. Like, but knowing that if you see the jump in hit, you know how to continue the combo is a really big deal, especially because people jump a lot in Platinum. You can probably get away with jumping more than you should in Platinum. Wall Splat DI combo. For Ken, it looks like this. I actually had a really hard time learning that because you have to do a manual light DP, and I couldn't really do DPs and combos at all when I picked up Ken. I dropped that combo like a motherfucker for like a month. So it is totally normal to struggle with all of this as you're learning. There is no wrong way to learn. The only wrong way to learn is to decide that it's not worth it and you're just gonna quit. And this is another case where I know my Oki, after that knockdown, oop. Oh my god. And then if I frame kill a crouch medium kick there, leaves me +5. So this is basically the same situation as the double dash I showed earlier. Very good for him. But that was layer 2. First I had to be able to do the wall splat combo. Punish counter drive impact combo. My go-to for this on Ken. I also have a fancy version I haven't really used in a real match yet. Oops. But just this will get me very far. For a while I was just doing the B&B there. But that does 2400 damage versus 2870, so almost 500 more damage. You really want to optimize the big combo opportunity of a punish counter DI, so I would learn a separate combo for that if possible. And you know, more things that you optimize as you move up. If this happens in the corner, I can basically do the same combo that I do, well, a very similar combo that I do off the DI wall splat. Oop, oh my god. Punish counter DI, jump in, DI wall splat, B&B, cash out combo. Ken's cash out is pretty much a loop of this and this into Ender. So it's not like max damage. There are other optimizations you can do, but that's a simple one that does 50% if you have level 3, not even CA. If you get the big hit and you have the resources to spend, you want to be able to kill. So you want to have your max cash out and understand what you can do if you have maybe half your resources. Maybe you can't do 2 drive rushes or 2 drive rush cancels. Maybe you can only do 1. Okay, so do this. Nope. That's still good. Maybe you didn't have the resources to cash out all your bars of drive meter, but it'll still do like 48%. You want to know how to get your big damage. And I would say if you want to really add on to those couple of things, jump in, punish counter DI, DI wall splat, B&Bs, and cash out. Just understand where your combos can end with a super, potentially. So for Ken, anytime he does run Dragon Lash, any single one of his supers connects there. So I was getting huge mileage off of that for a while, just because I understood that was a place where I could tack on my big damage at the end. A lot of Mai's gameplay is getting her level 1 super, and then using the differences caused by the install to pressure your opponent. I don't know how to play Mai. I can't tell you how to best use her supers, or if you should only be going for level 1, especially because this stuff is still in very early development as she's so new. But I would say maybe focus on, rather than like places to end with any of your supers, places that you can end with level 1 to get the buff, or places you can end with level 3 to get the kill, because you don't want to cash out if it's not going to kill. And I would say, if there's anything else you want to learn in general when approaching a new character, I mean, the next layer up would probably be, like, your best drive rush into button. For Ken, it's going to be this. What do you do on that, on hit or on block? So on hit, like I said before, that can go into his big cash out. But on block, you're +2. This'll frame trap. Or you can micro walk forward into a throw. Or you can shimmy. Drive rush jab always creates a situation on a character where you can frame trap afterwards, or you can shimmy afterwards. I feel like I'm getting too complicated here. I need to narrow the focus so that I don't overwhelm you with information. The cliff notes would be, train your anti-airs. If you're going to fireball, make sure it is a safe distance where you can anti-air if they jump. Remember that just throwing a fireball isn't taking full advantage of your pressure. You want to dash or drive rush behind that fireball. Don't be afraid to use your normals to create pressure on block. Don't be afraid to spend your drive gauge when you have it to force a guess. You don't just have to hit light buttons into throw because you don't know how to get something started. Train your DI reactions. And learn a couple of B&Bs and start there. Once you have a combo for each core situation, then you can learn Oki for those combos, and then you can start making them guess, is he going to do the one where he throws me? Is he going to do the one where he hits me? Is he going to shimmy? The rock, paper, scissors of fighting games. But in order to create mix, you have to have a flowchart that branches in multiple directions first. You have to not just be flailing. And everybody, when they pick up a new character, is flailing. So I would start by reducing the sense of not knowing what to do by just literally sitting in the lab and practicing a couple of things. I can't even tell you how many times I drilled simple combos. Not so I could execute them. I could execute them long before I was doing them on reaction. But so I could do them when it mattered in the moment. Because that's a whole different ballgame. I think you totally got this. You need to have a little bit more faith in yourself. You already have a very strong willingness to block on defense, which is great. You know to punish excessive blocking with the throw, which is great. You're not constantly putting yourself into burnout by overspending your resources. Really, you just gotta actually do more stuff. And once you know what stuff to do and aren't afraid to do a little bit more stuff, I think you're gonna be fine. I really hope this is helpful. If you have any more specific questions, feel free to drop them in the comments, or maybe I can just continue looking at your Mai next month when I do your March replay reviews. Either way, I know I don't play Mai. I really wish I had Mai specific advice, but I hope this was helpful for what it is, having learned a secondary myself. I know it can be really intimidating and make you feel like you don't know how to play the game at all when suddenly everything's different, but you've got this. You've totally got this. Just start from the ground up, a couple of basic combos, a couple of Oki options off those combos. Don't let them jump at you for free. Don't let them drive impact you for free, and you're going to be totally fine. You got this. As a final addendum, and I don't know how in the hell I managed to forget this initially recording this, but I didn't want to leave it out. A really simple and powerful pressure tool in this game is a throw loop, and Mai has a particularly accessible one. After you throw somebody in the corner, you have an auto-timed throw that will beat their fastest button if you immediately dash forward and throw again, like this.
Stay down. Stay down.
Oh, it's gotta be wake up reversal.
Down. Stay down. Stay down. Stay down.
And eventually, that's gonna make them want to throw tack. And then,
Stay down.
instead of throwing them, if you just hold back immediately, you can auto shimmy there as well. And then do your best punish combo for them whiffing the throw tech. I don't know what that punish is on Mai, but I mean, even if I were just to do the heavy auto combo there.
Stay down.
Oop, I got a dash.
Stay down.
you create a situation where you can take almost 50% health off a really simple, in this case, auto combo. There's no way that's optimal. That's not a cash out. Because you convince them that they finally needed to throw tech. Or maybe they're just gonna say screw it and try to do a reversal. And same situation.
Stay down.
You're holding back, so... So take advantage of the throw loop to create easy pressure in the corner. Force them to guess whether or not you're going to throw again. Mai has a particularly easy throw loop with it being auto-timed with a dash and then auto-timed with an immediate holding back. You don't even have to manually time it. It's even easier than Ken's throw loop. So don't neglect this. It's pretty free until at least like Diamond 1. If you go for a shimmy around when you could go for like a third or fourth throw, people are going to throw tech and you can kill them for it.